Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm really excited to be here with Shellee Howard. I will get into our intro, but Shellee is a certified college counselor, bestselling author, founder of College Ready. And I'm just so excited to pick your brains on all things college. As I was saying before we started recording, I have a ninth grader. His dad is in very much so like, oh my God, college is coming. We have to get prepped for it. And I'm in the like, it's not on fire. It's not in front of us, but I have questions. And so I think you are going to be the perfect sort of like middle ground. And, you know, I've been able to collect his questions and my questions and friends' questions just to kind of get like, I was even at the gym this morning and I was like, guys, guess who I'm interviewing today? And like just doing a temperature check of like where everyone is on the freak out scale of the logistics of kids going to college. So Shellee, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope to give your listeners massive value.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. And, you know, I really love to start each episode off with an intention. And as I was prepping for the show, I always like to write it out. But for me, today's conversation is for the moms who are juggling the businesses or the busy schedules and or all of the above. And it's that bittersweet season of sending their kids off. So if you've ever worried about the skyrocketing costs, hand in the air for me, of higher education, or wondering how to help your child stand out in the admissions process, that would be Hayden's dad. Totally nervous about that, rightfully so. And you want to get there without losing sleep or your savings. This episode's for you.
I love all of that.
Awesome. Okay. I just want to start with, how did you find yourself in this work? I mean, it seems like this is a huge area of passion for you, but then you just threw in the bomb before we started recording. You're also a professional photographer. So I have a feeling you're pretty multifaceted. I just want to hear the scoop.
Yeah, for sure. So listeners, I am a mama of 4. So first so 2 boys, 2 girls. So first, I love every parent to know I've walked in your shoes. All
Definitely.
4 of mine have graduated college debt-free. So I want you to know that I have 4 very unique children. They are all not like my first. So when I talk about my first, please know that they're all super unique and they all have an incredible path. My first was a bit of an overachiever and he was the typical firstborn and I was probably a crazy mom too. So let's get real.
Totally.
So how I got here, right? That's a big question. This is my 7th business that I started and I
love that.
It was started 18 years ago. So I've been doing it a bit.
Yeah, I love that.
This is my 18th application season. If you're freaking out that you have to do it once, imagine doing it 18 times.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So it all started, parents, as simple as this. I was, as a professional photographer, I got to go wherever my kids went. I made money wherever they were at, soccer, cheerleading. I was just the photographer. And so one day I was making my son a snack. He was blowing in from school on his way to soccer and he was in middle school and about spring of his 8th grade year. And he came in, he's super excited. And I'm like, wow, he doesn't usually have that much energy. He says, Mom, I know exactly what I want to do after college, after high school. And I'm like, great, I changed my major 5 times. Please share. And he's like, Mom, the lady from the high school came and she said that, we could be anything we want. And I've decided I want to be a brain surgeon and I want to go to an Ivy thing.
An Ivy thing. Oh my God, that's adorable.
Right? 8th grade, so innocent. And I said, that's super exciting, but we don't have any medicine in our family. He goes, Mom, we serve our community every week. He goes, if I could do that every day, best job ever.
And I'm like, heart on that one.
Right? As a mom, I'm like, oh, it's all me. Like I'm so amazing.
Pat on the back.
And then, I have 3 others. So we'll get to them soon. And So he went on to say, "Mom, can you help me?" And like I mentioned, I was the first to go to college on both sides of my family. I had no guidance. I applied to 2 schools, put a stamp on both, used whiteout during the typing session. Like, it was so not pretty, but I got into both schools, and my parents said, "If you stay in California, we pay. If you go away, good luck." So
Yeah.
it's very easy for me. I had no stress about it, and I went to school and all was well until I changed my major time and time again. So I knew I wanted to do this very different for my children. And so this is what I'm hoping listeners you're going to really appreciate. Because we always want to do better than our parents, I believe, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they made some mistakes. We don't want to make those mistakes. And so that was my intention. So I did what every great mom or dad would do. And I called his incoming freshman class high school counselor and I said, "Hey, I know it's summer, but summer's coming, but can we talk to you? Because I have a problem." She's like, "Yeah, come on in." And she goes, "So what's the problem?" We're sitting in front of her, and I look at my son and I said, "You tell her because I'm not that kind of parent." And he very simply said, "I would like to be a brain surgeon. I would like to go to an Ivy," at this time he knew, university. And she said, "Why? Why would you waste your time or money doing that? They don't make money anymore." And
Wow.
that's the look he had on his face. Huge eyes, so incredibly deflated. He looked at me
Yeah.
and he's like, "Mom, now what?" Like he thought that was our lifeline.
Yeah.
So we were gracious. I thanked her very much for the brief time we shared. And it could have just been a bad day.
Right.
I love high school counselors. They have the hardest job. They're dealing with mental illness and truancy, and they have a hard job.
Yeah.
Well, they think, here's a kid with great grades. He's fine. Don't worry about him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I'm like your ex-husband. Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm very worried about him. I don't
Totally.
know how to help him. Please help me. And so, long story short, I actually went back to school and I got my master's degree. Then I went back to school and I became an independent certified college consultant at UC San Diego. Then I started touring 25 colleges a semester. And then I built 33 spreadsheets. And then I spent 30, not 30 hours a week on top of my full time career. And my son did exactly what I asked him to do. He ended up getting into 11 of the 12 schools he applied to, and 7 were full ride. He ended up going pre med to Harvard. And well, first he got the presidential scholarship at USC. And as a mom, 1 hour away, I was like, yes, buy the sweatshirt. Let's go. This is awesome. And then Harvard sent this most beautiful invitation to come and tour the school. And my son really thought it was a joke. He thought, "Mom, somebody is messing with me. One of my friends that's just cruel." He said, "Will you call them?" And so I called them, and yes, it was real. And we flew out there and we're walking around and we go into where they have lunch, the commons. And he's like, "Mom, this is Hogwarts. This is the most epic place I have ever seen." And I'm thinking, and it's kind of dark and dreary. Like I didn't I didn't see the same thing he saw. He's like, "This is it." And I'm like, What? What? Wait, like, let's talk about this." And then I'm like, "This is not my decision. I got to do mine." And so I got really quiet for the next day and a half, and we walked along the Charles River and we saw the rowing team row the boat, and we saw the stuff, and it was epic. Just Cambridge is just a special place. And so at the end of our trip, he says, "Mom, this is it." And I said, "Well, if they match USC, I will agree, but I'm not paying full price when you can go for free." And so he said, "I know it's a business decision. I understand, but it's Harvard." And I'm like, "I understand too, but I don't want to pay $63,000 a year." So he did all the negotiation. He did all of the communication. He was on fire. He was truly on fire to make this happen. And they matched it. And so It was an incredible opportunity, insane fit for him. I remember dropping him off on his first day, and parents, you'll appreciate this. And all the parents were moving him in. There's no AC in Harvard dorms, by the way. We were moving him in August, and I was dying of heat stroke, and parents were crying. It was like so emotional, and I wasn't. And my son was like, "Mom, what is wrong with you? Why aren't you crying?" I'm like, "Son, I'd be crying if you were on my couch at home doing drugs. I go, there's nothing about this I'm sad about other than I'll only get to see you a few times a year." And he's like, "But you're so strong." So I leave him, I get on the airplane, and I cry for 8 hours all the way home. So that was child number one. And that's how College Ready got started, because everybody is like, "How did you do that? That's amazing. How do I get that for my family?" And I was doing it as a side hustle on top of my professional photographer career, which was a great career. I loved it. And then the iPhone came out.
Yeah.
Now everybody's a photographer.
Right. I
So
hear you.
that's how College Ready was started. It
What
really was a need from a mom.
what an incredible story. Like, first of all, your son sounds phenomenal. And like, I love your mama bear energy where you're like, not only do I not know how to do this, but I'm actually just going to become an expert at it. And then you weren't even, but it's not like you were like a full momager where you're like, I'm going to do all of this for you. You're like, here's what I need you to do. If you're going to get there, you got to get there on your own.
For
I
sure.
think, right. Which sets them up for success. You know, we have to put them in those tension points. What an incredible story.
Right.
And I love that your son had the clarity to be like, I want to be a brain surgeon. I want to make a
Mm.
difference. If I got the opportunity to save or serve and save people all day long, like what an absolute gift. I think, what about those kiddos who are coming through high school and they don't have that clarity on what they want to be? How do they know where to even begin to look?
This is such an important topic. And I think that every family has one child like this. I
Sure.
really do. I've never met one that has multiple overachievers. And so this is what I want to really help families understand. If you don't help your child figure out who they are right now, they will struggle with this for the rest of their life. It is
Wow.
that heavy because colleges are forcing them to pick a college major. No longer is there liberal arts, undecided, undeclared fluffiness. It is figure it out, get it done, and you better know. And these kids are not any more mature than we were.
Right.
So now they're faced with this huge monkey on their back. So now I'm going to give you the solution. I just want
Okay.
all of you to kind of be in that place of, yes, that's child number, whatever.
Yeah.
So the first thing you do is you sit down, maybe having a frozen yogurt, maybe having a pizza, whatever your thing is with that child. No distractions, no phones, just really quality time. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask them, "Who are you?"
Hmm.
And if they shrug, you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
If they say, "I'm your son, silly," right? They recognize themselves as your child, which means parents, it may be a little heavy handed. So
Mhm.
just kind of reflect. I'm not saying that you are, but that's what we find. And then we have to help them get to understanding who they are. So when I meet with students, and by the way, I'm going to give your listeners a free 30-minute call where I can do this with your child. So
Awesome.
you don't even have to worry about it. If they don't talk to you, all of them talk to me. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to say, "Who would your best friend say you are?"
Mm.
Right? Because now they're like, "Oh, yeah, so and so, they say I'm a connector. They say I'm a plan maker. I'm a beach lover. I'm whatever." They can go on and on and on about their friend. And I find that always very interesting. And then I say, "Now, when you hear your parent talk to their parent about you, what do they say?" And they're like, "It's so embarrassing. They say so many embarrassing things." And I'm like, now we're getting to it. Now we're getting the secret sauce. And I'm like, so tell me, I'm no judgment zone. I'm only here to help you. And they'll say that I'm really quite great at test taking, or I'm a natural born leader, or, I make everybody feel good, whatever that is. And now I say to them, are any of them lying? And they're like, whoa, like they get chills. Like it's like sinks in for the first time. So they've just never done the self-reflection because they're not going to do it in high school. Their high school counselor is not going to do this. Parents, we are so busy just getting them from point A to point B. Let's get real. I mean, I didn't sit down and do this with each of my children until I found the value of it. And I did do it with my firstborn because I was so worried. He was going to invest so much time and money being a doctor, and I didn't want him to do it for the wrong reason. I was scared he was going to do it for the DR or the money. So this mom, as crazy as I am, I took him to Kenya, Africa, to one of the slums of Mathare. And I took him to one of the worst places that you could probably go. And I said, now tell me, how do you feel? Do you want to help these people? Do you want to run and get out of here quickly? And he dug in. He was like, what do you all need? How can I help? I mean, and then at night he cried because he's like, these people should never have to live like this. So once you figure out and you help them self-reflect, who are they? Now you look at what is their core values. And I can give you a link for that, Betsy. It's absolutely free. Every parent, you might want to do it yourself, parents, if you're having this like epiphany of, wow, I wish somebody did this for me. To find your core values is such a blessing. So this incredible program gets down to your 5 core values, and I've never had a teenager tell me they did not agree. So that's the first thing. Then we get into, what do they advocate for? This generation, they're advocates. They're amazing. I've never seen, and I've been doing this a long time, a generation who is willing to stand up for what they believe. They may not know why they believe it, but they're going to stand up for it. And so once we find that, now we know who they are, what gets them fired up, right? They're giving us all of their secrets without even us having to ask. The next thing is, you ask them, what are you truly passionate about? What's that thing that's going to get you up early on Saturday morning? And don't be shocked if they say, oh, it's the game with my friends, or go to the mall, or, and you can't have judgment. If you shoot them down, right, it's over. That conversation's over. So we simply allow them the space, and we're like, well, tell me more about that. That sounds fascinating. I love that idea. What do you really do? And so it allows them that time to explore and expand, because we need them to test that theory out. Give you an example. I have a student wants to be a botanist. Dad calls me freaking out. I am not paying for botany school. Just telling you right now, this is a disaster. And I said, you know what? Let's just have a little conversation. And we did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a brown thumb. Please tell me, how are you going to do this? And she's getting all into it. And I said, kind of curious, why do you want to be a botanist? And she goes, I want to save the environment. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I know that every tree that's planted is going to save our environment. I'm like, so really, you're an environmentalist. What if you can open up, I don't know, 10 nurseries? Think of all the environment you can, that would be like a business degree. And Dad's like, yes, yes, go with it. Yes, that's amazing. And she's like, wow, I never thought of that. And it was just helping her to realize in her greatness how big she could think. And she was just thinking small because she had never had the opportunity to think like that.
This is so incredible. I can't help but reflect. So at 43 years old, I feel like I could ask so many peers, who are you? And we would all be like,
Mom.
and we would list off things that we do for others that,
Mhm.
provide, that make us feel worthy and whole, which is a whole separate subject to untangle, right?
For
But
sure.
what a gift of a question to root, so many of us, and again, it's generation to generation, have been sent to school to chase the big corporate career, or to
Mm.
chase, the letters after our name or whatever, to go get the money because maybe you grew up without it, whatever it may be. But if your motivation is more intrinsically based for what is, like I interview so many community leaders and business owners, and the people who are so genuinely happy and also successful, they seem to be linked, are those who are doing something that is a natural extension of their gifts,
Mhm.
and from a place of service or experience that they've had in life. And so I
Mhm.
think that makes me so happy to hear. I love that example of being like, botanist sounds cool. I love plants. I really do care about the environment. And I've heard about this botany degree in my bio class. And to be able to like extrapolate that more and expand it into like, let's talk about it. I'm curious, are
Mhm.
we finding more kids to be in the entrepreneurship space versus hopping on the corporate wagon like maybe our generation did? This
So
is a
here
total tangent, but I love tangents.
that's okay. I can go with you on here because I am an entrepreneur, but right out of
Same.
college, my dad gave me some incredible wisdom.
Hmm.
And what that he's an entrepreneur and so is my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Hey, what do you think about college?" This was
Yeah.
a long time ago. I won't tell you how long, but it was a
Not
long
that
time,
long.
long time ago. And I remember my mom said, "No, go get a job like I did. It's time to make some money. You're 18." And my dad goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I made some serious financial mistakes being my own boss when I was 18. I think you should go work for a Fortune 500 company. Back up. Yes, get a college degree because you're going to learn a lot more about life than books. And you need that. Let's just be real. You got to mature before you start a business." And I'm like, "All right." And he said, "So go work for a Fortune 500 company. And I want you to hire and fire people at some point in your career. Because when you're an entrepreneur, life is not done alone. And unless you know the legalities of that, keep you out of big time problem. Taxation, LLC, S corp, yes. So I did. I worked for Procter and Gamble for 8.5 years and got fully vested before my dad gave the thumbs up of okay, you're ready. And I will tell you, oh my gosh, I made so many mistakes on their dollar. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I had that wisdom. So to answer your question, my generation made lots of mistakes in the fact that we went to college. We picked majors that did not align with what we wanted because we didn't know what we wanted and nobody was doing the work that I do. So, like me, I started with business finance because my dad said, "You're going to be a business finance major." And I'm like, "Well, why not? I like money." Okay. And first class, accounting 101, seriously, tears. Waterworks. I'm going, what is this guy talking about? I am bored to tears.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right? And so I'm like, this is not going to work out. I told my dad that I was dropping out of college. So here's the problem. We picked majors that we didn't even know what career we were going to do after. Then we went into debt because we had no idea what all this loan business was about. And our parents were like, "Well, I don't know, just take a loan and you'll figure out how to pay it off." And so there were a lot of mistakes that were being made. And now my generation is saying, you don't have to go to college. Didn't work out for me. I'm not using my major. I'm still paying off my debt. And the kids are going, huh. So there's that one parent. Then there's the other side of it. Influencers love you. But I get on a call and I'm like, what do you want to do after high school? And they go, "Oh, I'm an influencer. I'm good." I'm like, "That's amazing." I go, "I love entrepreneurs. They're my favorite people. Now help me understand, where's your business plan? Because I need to see your long and short term goals."
Yep.
And it gets dead quiet. They're like, "What do you mean business plan?" And I'm like, Well, yeah, you have to monetize to be able to live on your own. Well, yeah, that's not part of the plan. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So, and then people are like, we need plumbers and mechanics. And I agree with all of that. I really do. I don't believe everybody needs one situation. But here's the thing. Nobody's talking about Uncle Jim's lower bad back because he was a plumber for 40 years, right? If they want to be a plumber, I love it. But do they want to own a plumbing business so other people can have bad backs? Now we're back to, wouldn't it help to have some business knowledge?
Yes, absolutely.
So do you see where I'm going? Like I wave, I can go with any student, but the reality is knowledge is power.
Indeed. Yeah,
And that's all we
absolutely.
need to focus on.
I love that. I think that's excellent advice. And, and I love how big of dreamers our kids are in this generation. And I do think that they are going to change the world. I love that you're seeing the trend that like everybody is an advocate for something.
Mm,
That's just kind of the culture of that generation. I love all of that. But I do agree that there's so much growth to happen over college,
mhm,
both socially, emotionally, and then, of course, in preparation for life. My
mhm,
family has a similar philosophy. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to work in business first.
mhm.
And it is, I mean, I was one of the people who I knew what I wanted to do in seventh grade. I was reading a YM magazine. Remember those magazines? And like in the middle center spread was like a secret deodorant ad. And I was like, I totally get it. I get why this ad is right here. I bet it costs extra money to be in the middle. I understand who's reading this magazine. And like from then on, I was just like fascinated how brands sort of position themselves. And I was like, I want to be in advertising.
Mm.
So I moved to New York after school and loved, and, I went to business school and majored in marketing and loved every minute of it. That said, I have reinvented myself plenty of times after 15 years of corporate career. I've been an entrepreneur either on the side or full time for 10. And without that foundation, and the confidence that comes from that foundation, I don't think I would be able to be in the position that I am today, which I'm ever grateful to be in. So I just, I really appreciate that perspective so much. I have to tell you, I'm literally obsessed with my Aura Ring 4. Honestly, my Apple Watch was way too much noise for me. Stand up, sit down, you have a meeting, you're late, your steps are low, breathe, all the things. But this little ring has been an absolute game changer. It doesn't just track my sleep, it helps me actually rest better. Every morning, I get insights into my recovery, my readiness for the day, and whether my body needs more downtime. It even tracks my steps, my cycle, and literally so much more. If you're someone who loves data, cares about your health, and also loves cute jewelry, this ring is for you. This is a gentle reminder, backed by science, that rest is just as important as hustle. Unlock this powerful tool for better sleep, less stress, and smarter recovery with Aura Ring 4. Use my link in the show notes to get 10% off your Aura Ring today. Okay,
Mhm.
so we've talked about like laying the foundation of like where do we get these kids started to be able to start making some decisions around what do they want to study, maybe that, and then how do we help them figure out where do they want to go? I mean, there's so many schools. Are we like, I went to college at Charleston because I wanted to go to school on the beach and then realized that I am not meant for slows. Charleston is one of my very favorite places to visit. I'm not meant to live there. I go at warp speed at all times, and they are this beautiful slow clip. And I just felt like I had the wrong shoe on the wrong foot for a year. And my parents made me stay a year, and they made me do all the transfer paperwork and get the grades. They were like, we'll support you, but you have to stay a year. You have to sit in this discomfort and make sure that's really how you feel. You have to do the work, and then I will support you wherever else you want to go. And then I switched to Miami of Ohio and had the best last 3 years of my life. But no regrets about Charleston. Long story short, I made a decision based on wanting to go to school near the beach, and that backfired. How are we
Mm.
helping kids make better decisions than me?
And see, you're not alone.
Yeah.
If you allow parents, if you allow your 17-year-old to decide where they're going to go to college, they're going to go to UC Santa Barbara because
Mhm.
the view from the dormitory is nicer than where I live. Let's get real, right? They're going to
Yeah.
pick, I remember my second child, dream school, University of Alabama. I said, honey, why Alabama? She
Mm-hmm.
said, "Mom, Roll Tide, the football team." I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Okay, but why are you gonna go to college there?" And that was the same thing. She's like, "It's the number one sorority. It's just
Uh-huh.
because football." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are we going to summer camp? I don't understand." I said, "I'm not paying for that. You get a
Yeah.
full ride, you can go." That's
Yeah.
how we roll. And she did. So off she
Wow.
went.
Incredible.
Right? And so that's an important thing. Parents, I know we want to give them a little bit of skin in the game, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand
Mm.
financial literacy enough to fully understand what a big decision this is. So the number one thing you can do is just go to a small school, small college, big college, private college, public college in your town.
Mm.
Right there. Don't travel, don't spend a ton of money. You don't have to make an appointment. You walk on campus. You can download an app on your phone, put your earbuds in, and walk around. And if your kids don't want to go with you, have them go with their buddy.
Yeah.
They, they can go and do it, because here's the thing. We need them to tell you what they love and
Mm.
what they don't love. Right? Because if they're
Yes.
telling you, "I love the fact at this school, they only have 12 students in the biology class, and I love getting to know my teacher, but I
Yeah.
really want to apply to UCLA." Ah, big problem.
Yeah.
Those two don't go together.
Yeah.
Do you see how easy it is?
Yes, absolutely. I'm like, it feels like dating. You make your list of like, here are my
Yes.
non-negotiables, here's whether I want or don't want. And then you can sort of
Yeah.
right size your schools against that. That's
For
incredible.
sure. And so, students, they haven't been to many schools, and
Sure.
myself and my team, there's 11 of us, and we've been probably to every college globally at this point. And what I would say is they need somebody to talk about, what does this mean? In other words, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Some state schools on the most popular coast take more than 4 years to get a 4-year degree. They're
Why
so
is that?
crowded, they're
Oh,
so overcrowded that they will take up to 6 years to get a 4-year degree.
meaning that students just can't get the classes that are required to graduate because it's oversaturated with students?
That is correct. And they're so saturated that the schools have limit them to 16 units a semester, which, if you do the math, you
Right.
cannot get out in 4 years unless you do summer school and winter session,
Ah,
all 4 years.
so forget internships, forget coming home to mom.
Right? Yeah. So if you don't know where they're applying and they
Yeah.
don't know, I have people come in all the time and say, "Here's our college list. Just help us figure it out." And I'm like, "Well, let's
Mhm.
talk about how you came up with the list." And
Yeah.
then we have to get deeper. Are you looking for the academic fit? Do you
Hmm.
want to be the big fish in the small sea or the small fish in the big sea? Do you want
Mhm.
to fight for every A, or do you want fun as
Yeah.
part of college? That's interesting. Do you want to go on and get your MBA or PhD, because now you have to graduate at the top 5% of your college class? Oh, nobody told you that. Then
Yeah.
we get into the social fit. Most people will find a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a significant other, a best friend, a somebody in college that will be meaningful for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
My kids call them aunt and uncle. They are not related at all,
Yeah. Those are
but
the
they're
best kind.
right. They're my
Yeah.
besties.
Yeah.
They were my college roommates
Yeah.
still, right?
Yeah.
And so
Totally.
I tell students, go sit where they have lunch and tell me, "Do you see yourself having lunch here?"
Mm.
Ooh, they're like, "Wow." Because some schools, heads in the computer, heads in the book. Some schools, you don't see a book or a computer. Let's get real. Where are their people?
Yeah.
Then, do they have the clubs, organizations, intramural sports, sorority,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? Some kids, that's huge. Some kids, they could care less.
Yeah.
Then we get to the financial fit. If your child can't afford the school, are you applying to scholarships now? You
Mm.
can start when they're in 7th grade. Okay. So
Okay.
for all of you who are waiting until their senior year, you are missing out because the FAFSA looks at the second semester of the sophomore year and the second semester of the sophomore year and the first semester of the junior year.
Okay.
That means it's a double year look back at your taxes. So if you haven't got your financial house in order, and if you're a divorced family
Yeah.
and you don't know the rules of the game,
Yeah.
you're going to lose at the game.
Yeah. I don't want to
Okay?
lose. I don't want
Don't want to
to
lose. Don't want to lose. This is important. So if you are looking for a financial fit, you need to understand your student aid index. You
lose.
need to understand the FAFSA and the CSS profile. You need to take all the money out of your child's name because the colleges will go after that first.
Wow.
There's so many things. It's kind
Yes.
of like learning a new sport and not knowing the rules of the game.
Yeah.
It can be painful the first couple games.
Right. Then you're going to get hit in the face with a ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it could cost you a lot.
Absolutely. Okay. This is probably a pipe dream question, but with FAFSA, is it like a blanket sort of like intake of here is all your financial situations, et cetera, and then you're able to like, because when you're saying they look at second semester sophomore, first semester junior year, what if our kids aren't really far enough in, though this is where I want to go? Like, how do you know where to apply for these scholarships if you're not at that point of being like, I want to go look
Yeah.
at the beach from my dorm room, or I want to have my nose in the books in the middle of the country in the cold because I want to be an engineer kind of
Totally.
thing. Yeah.
So important. So you don't need to know where you're going to go to start applying for scholarships because
Excellent.
when you're younger, right? Give me an idea. Right now,
Okay.
there's a $10,000 scholarship if you're a vegan.
Huh.
I could be a vegan for 10 grand. I'm just
Right.
saying,
Do you
right?
have to prove your vegan status?
No, you just tell them you're a vegan and you talk about what it's like being a vegan in a world where there's
Yeah.
stereotypes. There's all right. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
it would be hard to fake, but
Right. Also,
not
like, don't fake it. But I was just like being a little facetious, but I was genuinely curious. Yeah.
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 But there's three buckets of money. There's
Okay.
the bucket called merit or earned. And let me help you with this.
Okay.
So Betsy, you're an employer and I
Mm-hmm.
come to you and I'm like, Betsy, I want to work for you more than anything in the world. Please hire me. And you say, great. Can I have your resume or CV? And I'm like, oh, so Betsy, I don't really have one of those, but I really want to work for you. Like you're my dream job.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'll hire you, but you're going to get minimum wage. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And now I'm another child and I come to you and I'm like, Betsy, this is why I think you should hire me. And you're like, wait, what? Well, can I have your CV, your resume? And I'm like, it's 3 pages. It's pretty deep, but I really could do your job. And I want to show you why. And I want to
Yeah.
show you how. And I want to show you everything I've done to increase this to get here.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay me a lot more money?
Indeed. Yes.
Indeed. College is a business.
Yeah. Like when you were saying with your son's scholarship, it was absolutely jaw to the floor moment. I didn't know that, or excuse me, the cost of school was negotiable.
Oh, yes.
That you could go in there and be like, match this. And it was a conversation. I had no idea.
For sure. You can do financial negotiations. You can do reconsiderations. It's a business. They
Yeah.
need your money and your child, and you need them.
Yeah.
Would you go up and look at the house flyer and go, oh yeah, I'll pay that price.
Right.
I will. Or a car. Let's just be real. Would you go up to the lot and go, I'll pay sticker. I'll pay over sticker because I really want to come here or I
Yeah.
really want to buy that car. So it's a
I no,
mindset.
yes, I was just going to say the same thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it is such a mindset shift for parents because in the sort of humming and the things that I'm hearing on my end is it's so impossible to get into college. Your kid is so lucky where like we need to have the mindset shift of like, yes, it is hard to get into college and you need to do the work. And there's obviously a very complex process, but they need you just as much as you need them. I've worked closely with hospitals, schools, nonprofits. And at the end of the day, everyone's in the business of making money because that's how they keep the doors open to serve their communities. There's all good behind that. But at the end of the day, everyone's in the business of making money. This is eye opening. Excellent. I love this shift.
Mhm.
That just let the air out of the balloon a little bit for me. Thank you for that.
You're
But this is
welcome.
absolutely fascinating. Okay, so bringing us back, I apologize for again taking us on a tangent, but I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because I really love them. Um, but so we've got the kid who is making minimum wage and rightfully so. We've got the next kid who clearly has earned the right for more money. And then I
Right.
believe you said there was a third bucket.
So that's one bucket.
Okay.
Okay. So the first bucket we call you earned it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the
Yeah.
first bucket. And guess what? It feels good, parents. Even if you can write the full check for the full amount, when your child graduates and everybody's sharing how much money they got in scholarships and yours didn't apply because they didn't need to, it feels sad. It feels like they did a lot of work and they're not being recognized. Yes, they got in the school and yes, their parents wrote a big check, but let's get real. When they're sharing, yes, I got in and I got 25,000 and it brings all of that hard work to reality and they're getting the pat on the back and it feels good. So I just like parents to understand, even if you can't afford it, it's an important thing for that student to have. I worked hard to earn it and I did receive it. So that's the first bucket. The second bucket is called independent. And those are the ones you can start applying to now. Understanding, be very careful. These are a lot of bait and switch, which means your child will tell them, yes, we own a home and we own 3 cars and we have a pool and we live in this awesome neighborhood, and all of a sudden you're getting blown. Oh, and here's their email. And now you're getting refinance and buy a new car. And so be very careful. What I recommend doing, parents, creating an email, their first name, their last name at gmail.com, and make sure every email goes to the parent as well, because teenagers don't check email.
No, they don't. They really don't. Unless it's coming in on their text message or their
Yep.
DM, they're not checking it.
And here's the thing, I had a student lose a $40,000 scholarship because they didn't check their email.
That's something I'm capable of doing. So no judgment, but oh my God, my jaw is on the floor and my stomach hurts.
And we couldn't get it back. The student had 24 hours to accept. They won it. They didn't accept it. They lost it. That parent think they were a little upset. Oh, yes. So they came to me. They did that before they came to me. And I was just like, this is so important for other people to understand. So parents, you're not being intrusive, you're not being in their business. You don't need their personal email or whatever. I'm not telling you how to parent for this one little piece. It's like having a shared mailbox back when snail mail came, where we all were like, you get this, you get that, right? That's all we're doing. And so the other thing is, have a conversation with your child about not sharing their social security number or your social security number, right? These are all real things that we have to, they don't know. They really don't. Nobody's telling them be scared of all these creepy people. And I don't want to make them fearful because there's a lot of legit scholarships. My son won the Coca-Cola scholarship. It's $25,000 a year. And all you have to do is be a leader. It's not like you have to be an amazing, crazy acrobat. Like, you have to lead. So if you have a leader, check out Coca-Cola scholarship,
I love that. And I
right?
love that scholarship just to continue to build more leaders in this world. All
Yeah,
right. Way to go, Coca-Cola.
right? There's
Yeah.
there's Nordstrom. There is so many great scholarships. But here's the thing. Some of them are only during their junior year. If you wait till the senior year, you're done. You missed it. You can't go back. It's over. Some of them are when they're in middle school for the proactive students. So we want families to understand there is a lot of money, but the biggest money comes from picking the right colleges. So I want to kind of come full circle for you. So here's the thing. If you pick colleges based on a football team or where they're located, you have no idea if they're generous or not. Okay. I know because I've helped thousands of families go through this process. And I have a program that can show you before you ever apply, is that school going to give you a dime? I think that's important because if that's a stretch already and you're like, if we don't get any independent, they're not going. That's a tough one. What if they get in and they didn't get any independent scholarships? Now you have to say sorry. Or, okay, we'll take that. We'll spend our retirement and don't do that. Do not do that.
Great advice,
They don't want
truly.
to take care of you when you're retired, right?
And to your point, there are so many options.
Yeah.
Your
So
retirement is for you. I love
it's
that.
for you.
Yeah.
There's so many other ways, parents. So what we do in our program is we find the best academic fit, social fit, and financial fit.
Mhm.
Then we help the student figure out who they are, what matters to them, what they advocate for. Then we map out, here's a career, not just college.
Yeah,
College is the stepping stone to the career.
of course.
And will that career make them enough money to move out of their parents' home,
Mhm.
not move back in? And will AI take that job over by the time they graduate?
Amen to that. Amen
We
to
can
that.
tell them that. So it's
Yes.
so important. If you're not doing this work, there's so many stumbling blocks. Then
Mhm.
we build the college list based off of, do they want a big school, a small school, East Coast, West Coast, public, private? What do they want? We have
Yeah.
to ask them, what do they want? And if they don't know, we give them examples, or we'll say, hey, let's go check this out. What do you think about this? But here is the final important thing I want your listeners to know.
Yeah.
Community service
Mm.
is the reason all of our students are successful. Because once they come to the fruition of, I want to do this, and this is what it takes, then we say, let's go help another person and let's test out those skills.
I love that. I
You
love
want to
that
be an
so much.
engineer? Let's go be an engineer, but let's do it helping other people out, because guess what? You can't screw it up.
Right. Right. You're making a difference. You're
Yeah.
meeting your requirements for high school and you're testing out this. I love a good test run.
Yeah. So now they're helping another human being. They're seeing,
Mhm.
do I really? Maybe I just like Legos. Maybe I really don't like sitting at a desk every day.
Mm.
And this is the best way because they do it way before they have to commit or spend money.
I love that.
And then we help them to build a passion with purpose project where they actually do it.
Amazing. Okay. So, timeline, if we're building the runway here, help me back into when we're actually applying and that passion project needs to be locked and loaded and have some performative metrics to it. And then, like what does that timeline look like? Am I behind with Hayden as a freshman who just started 2 weeks ago? Yeah, tell me what you think.
So happy to answer. It's not a age, it's a
Okay.
maturity.
Hmm.
Okay. For those of you who have more than one child, I know you'll appreciate this. They all are so unique, right? Even if you have one, you're like, whoa, they didn't come from me, right? Like they're all so unique. So think about it this way. If you have a middle school, seventh or eighth grader, and they have intellectual curiosity, they go to a museum or a science tech show and they're like, whoa, what is this? How does this happen? They have curiosity. They're ready. It's game on. It doesn't matter what age they are. They have the desire to want to learn. Now, if you have a late bloomer who's just like, yeah, I just kind of want to chill and play with my buds, and then you get to step in and help them to see, if we wait, the college will pick you. If we start now, you get to pick the college.
Great way to put that.
So it's a choice. It's not, oh, you have to do this now. And then the best part about it is, if you start early, you have a gentle runway. It goes with their maturity. We don't blast you. What do you want to do? What are you going, where are you going to go to college? Da, da, da. No, that would freak them out. So instead, we talk about, who are you? And we start young, and they're like, by the time they're in ninth grade, they're like, oh, I'm this, this, this. I'm amazing. Da, da. We teach them parents don't brag, don't boast, people don't like it. And I have to teach them brag like your life depends on it because colleges will never know otherwise.
Yeah. I love that.
Interesting, right?
If you're building your dream business and you know you need to build an email list, but the idea of picking and using an email platform totally overwhelms you, trust me, I get it. But I've got you, girl. Flowdesk is where it's at. Flowdesk is the email marketing platform designed with female entrepreneurs in mind. Think gorgeous, on-brand templates plus powerful workflows that save you hours. I promise you, I've never used an easier email platform with such stunning results. Whether you're sending an email launching a new offer or podcast episode, sharing new news, or trying out a fancy workflow to convert a new email subscriber into a paying customer, Flowdesk helps you show up professionally with ease without spending a ton of time or money. And not to mention, these emails are gorgeous. And because you're a Write Your Own Story podcast listener, you get an exclusive 50% off your first year of Flowdesk. Plus, they'll send you $19 cash back when you join using the link in the show notes. So if you're ready to send stunning emails that convert and actually enjoy the process, click the link in the show notes and give Flowdesk a try. That's 50% off your first year plus $19 back in your pocket. Check out Flowdesk today. It's like your super talented email writing best friend. I promise you won't regret it. Now, back to the episode.
Yes. So you can start at any point. To answer your specific question, Betsy.
Yeah.
The best time to start is now.
Yeah. And Hayden, he is like an old soul and is very mature. Like as you're saying that. And I mean, I have 4 also. So I totally get where I'm like, I don't know how my twins are going to be when they're in 9th grade. Besides hilarious and mischievous. But yeah, I totally get that every kid is different, but I do like, and I do like the idea of not feeling so rushed and feeling like you're more in control of the process and that you can kind of do it from an explorative, both like a self-discovery process, which like what a gift to be able to self-discover when you are, because I also feel like in our generation, so many of us went to college lost.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think this is so wonderful. We raise them to fly, and like what a strategic and gentle way to kind of like put the wings on.
Right. And so the beauty is then when somebody says, so what are you thinking about majoring in? Even in 9th grade, they're like, well, I have 3 careers in mind and I'm exploring them right now with the community service project that I'm working on. That adult is going to be like, okay.
I know. When I grow up, I want to be them.
And it's genuine. Like they're really living it. So the other thing I'll share with your listeners, if you're like a parent who's super busy and you're like, I just don't have time to do all of this. We have a nonprofit. It's called empowereducation.world, where I lead, because it's my passion, 54 right now, high schoolers, middle and high schoolers from all over the globe. We meet 1 hour a week. And we are building a school in Uganda. We have 850 children who are attending our school. We have an orphanage in Oaxaca, Mexico, and we have a neighborhood in Ecuador. And these students lead other students to create the change they want to see in the world. I'm just there to mentor them. It's completely free. Go to empowereducation.world. You can check it out. Like it doesn't have college ready on it. It's by intent. It is not supposed to promote my business. It is my passion to allow these teenagers to step into something to test the water.
Yeah. Gosh, what an incredible opportunity. And also just like, you're an incredible woman to see how driven and passionate and the impact that you've made and how like multifaceted you are. You're such an amazing example to your children. And you really like, I love businesses that are built out of service and passion. One, because it absolutely translates, but the impact that it makes. So I'm just so grateful for the work that you do. And I love seeing how you show up. It is such an inspiration to, I know me, absolutely. And just so many people listening.
For sure. And if you live in a household where one parent is a little bit more obsessive than the other parent, you know what? You're both right.
Yeah, totally.
You're both right. And The best thing I would say is that the student is the one we need to focus on.
Yes.
As much as I appreciate where parents come from, I love you all. I care about that student and how are they feeling about the process. Because if they think they have a super long runway and they're in a junior or a senior, it's going to slap them in the face like nobody's business. And it's hurtful. And it's
Yeah.
no fun because they made a lot of mistakes they didn't have to. And I have to be the bearer of bad news.
Mm.
Where if you start them wherever you're at right now, you don't make mistakes.
Mm.
Mistakes are okay as long as you fail forward. But,
Yes.
but what's at risk,
Yeah.
right? If they
Right.
don't take the right classes, they can't apply to the school they want to go to.
That's
Like,
super interesting. So the classes that they take in high school to support the schools that they want to go to for the career that they have their eye on. That
yep,
also makes me wonder, how critical are the SAT and ACT scores?
very critical. Well, two reasons. If
Okay.
you have a student who has a high GPA and a
Hmm.
low test score, be the college for the moment. You're either thinking high, easy A's, everybody
Hmm.
gets an A, or the student cheats, which I don't want
Hmm.
to believe,
Yeah.
or they have test anxiety.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they're thinking. And then vice versa. If they have a high test score and an average GPA, they're thinking a smart, lazy student.
Yes. That would be my least favorite, to be honest. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you're thinking, is that a good fit for my school? You're
Mm.
thinking, wait a minute, I want the one who's doing right about the same. And so, for those of you who want to believe it's optional, let me tell you, my students are talking about in an essay how they worked really hard to get a perfect 36 on their ACT. How
Mm.
optional is it?
Right.
It's not optional.
It's not.
And if
Yeah.
you want scholarships, the PSAT their junior year can earn you a free education.
Wow. Mm.
Again,
Right.
knowledge.
Knowledge. Absolutely. And you mentioned the essays, and I was thinking about how hard it must be. Like I barely remember mine, but like the essay writing process. Um, but I like the trajectory that you put these students on, where it's such a self-discovery, and it's such a longer term thing that I almost feel like the essay component must come naturally from that process.
It's beautiful. And that's how I first built my son is I reversed engineered the process.
Right.
I was thinking, what is going to be the most somebody's going to have the same GPA, higher or lower, same
Hmm.
test score, higher or lower. So I started thinking as an entrepreneur, what's the real problem? The real problem is how are we going to differentiate ourselves? That's the essay. So then I
Mm.
started thinking, how are we going to make the essay so juicy, so deep, so real that they can't put it down? We're going to tell a real story.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
do.
Right? A real story with
That's
heart
it.
and with real experience and passion. I
Yeah.
think that that is incredible. And and then also here comes the challenge of the kids learning how to write these things without AI.
And there is an AI checker. I
Yeah.
have an AI checker that I run every one of my students' essays through, and
Good.
25 last year got sent back.
Yeah.
And the students say, no, 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 I did not. And guess what? Grammarly is AI,
Mm.
on your computer.
Yep.
ChatGPT is AI.
Yes, it is.
So if it's on your child's computer when they're writing their essays, it's going to be picked up.
Yeah.
So a little word to the wise, take all of it off the computer that they're going to be using to
Mm.
submit the essays because they know. Colleges know parents if you do period double space,
Yeah.
okay? It's now period single space.
Yeah. I do period double space. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, you are old school.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
Yep. So they would know if you wrote your child's essay just by
Oh, ho,
that.
ho, ho, ho. I see. Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh, yeah. We're so smart.
Yeah. Okay. What other myths are like floating out there? I'm trying to think of some of the other, like we talked about, like, do I need to be starting passion projects for my child in seventh grade? Again, it goes back to this readiness concept. Do the SAT and the ACT really matter? Clearly they do. Even the PSAT does if you want the opportunity for scholarship. Can we sneak in, like, does the essay really mean that much? It's critical. It's your differentiator.
Right.
What are we now? I had heard a stat that said 90% of students apply to 10% of the schools. Is that myth or real?
So in certain parts of the country, yes.
Mm.
In others, not so much. I'll give you an example. In California, I would say 95% apply to the UC schools. Okay. It They just do. Parents think it's cheaper because it's in state. It's not always true. That's a big myth. And they also want them close to home, right? That's a parental thing. But guess what? So are other people all over the US applying to the UCs because UC Santa Barbara's on the beach. UCLA and UC Berkeley and UC San Diego are powerhouses, right? So some schools, yes, and some schools, no. The Ivies are interesting because for the right student, they're a perfect fit, but a lot of students apply to them as a dream. Like my son never said, "Oh, yeah, I'm getting into Harvard." There's nothing about him that ever said that. But as his mom, with the GPA and his whole thing, I said, "You will apply to one Ivy." Because you have to dream big. You'll never know if you can. And I also made him apply to one local state school that he could commute to, and that was pre-COVID. But I was thinking, what about if one of our family members got sick and he didn't wanna go away? That's something nobody tells you to think about. Well, every one of my students in my program did that, and during COVID, they pivoted, and it was brilliant. They didn't spend all the money that
Yeah,
other kids were doing.
absolutely. That is,
So
I mean, and you just don't know those things until you've lived them. And then you get the opportunity to live them through your breadth of clients.
right.
Okay, so speaking of Ivy League schools, who are the kids that should be applying to Ivy League schools?
So that the reality of an Ivy League is they're a dream school for everyone. There is not one student I've ever met that I can say, you are 100% in. Not
Okay.
one of them. And I
Yeah.
have students with graduate with 2 years of college already done. Like I
Yeah.
have massive overachievers, and then I have students that are a 2.8. I
Right.
mean, it's the full gamut. I have students with an IEP, I have scholar athletes, like I've got them all. And I will tell you, this is who should be applying to Ivy. Do you want to fight for every A with somebody who just got a 5.0 GPA?
Fair.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
step number one. If you cannot say, yes, I would like to go to the library every day for 24 hours, I am totally okay. My son said, no way, mom, I'm getting my first B.
Yeah.
And even at Harvard, they say C's are degrees. So let's just be real. So he was very clear going into an Ivy that yes, he was salutatorian at his school, but
Yes.
he was okay not being salutatorian at Harvard.
Which I
That
can imagine is a huge mental adjustment for those who are, I want to be in an Ivy. I've done this in high school to be able to be okay with. But what a life skill to know that you're not always going to be the best at everything.
absolutely. And then you want to think about, well, we know that some careers an Ivy will impact massively. But an entrepreneur, I'm sorry,
Mm,
nobody is ever asked, did you graduate from an Ivy? If you're a
yeah.
multi-billionaire entrepreneur, nobody
Right.
brings up that subject. So it's being strategic, right?
Mm,
If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a CPA, somebody who's going to utilize that pedigree, I have it right behind me, that Harvard diploma, and he won't even put it on his wall. It goes
yeah.
in mom's office because
Mhm.
he doesn't want to be that guy. So
Yeah.
here's a kid who is actually shunning it when I would be like putting it right behind, and I do.
Right. You're like, that's weird. Did I get it tattooed right here? Oh, whoopsie.
So you have to be okay with that. And it's interesting on who is. There's
Mhm.
lots of students who end up at Ivies who mentally struggle and go
Sure.
home.
Yeah.
And so be careful. That's what I
Yes.
want to say. Be careful that you know your child is that kind of because my second 3 were not. It would have been a
Yeah.
disaster for them, and that's okay. They had great educations.
Without a doubt. And I'm sure are so successful and you're on the right path and all of the things.
Yeah.
That's really great perspective. And like someone, again, I was like collecting data at the gym this morning, being like, you know, we're all parents. Like I've got my list of questions, but I haven't walked a kid to college yet. Like, and so someone was saying, almost put it as like an ROI. Like, so you have a high yield and a high ROI for Ivy League schools. If it is like an accredited degree that comes after that, you're going to use that pedigree and
Right.
hang it on your wall or hang it in your mom's wall, but hang it on your wall.
It should.
That makes total sense. And I love, you know, I was thinking about when my ex-husband was giving me the example of this boy who started a nonprofit, that he was a very sick child, like our daughter was when she was young. She's very healthy now, but she had a really rough start. And so this boy did it as well, and then did like a nonprofit around endocrinology and had to show to get into Stanford, had to show year over year revenue growth. And I'm like, but this poor boy, and I am like this, he's probably wonderful and amazing and changing the world. But I'm like, some kids put in these types of scenarios would then go to Stanford and, you know, burn out getting the A's and then get into the real world and fail once and crumble because they've been forced to, I don't know, what is the balance of like, I see of rigor and pushing your children and sort of letting them take the process and the strides that are right for them.
So the flip side is that nobody really talks about is there are some children just born who want it on their own. I have some students in my program. I had a young lady, her name was Grace, and she knows I talk about her because I started working with her when she was a freshman, and her parents, of course, told me she's quite brilliant. And I'm like, okay, well, most parents think that, but she was really, truly quite brilliant. Yeah. And so I started working with her, and she's like, okay, what's next? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then what's next? And I'm like, Grace, like, let's have a little balance, chill. She goes, why? And I'm like, have a life? Like, she goes, I'm a competitive gymnast. I have a life. Can we keep moving? And I'm like, yes, we can. And then so she was the first one that I had ever come across where she was driving it and she was pushing it. And I loved it because I was like, oh, it's not me, it's her. And she got a full ride to Vanderbilt. She graduated early. She's a phenomenal young adult. And guess what? She's healthy, she's mindful, she's successful, she's doing so great. And her parents, they own a farm. I mean, they're just so chill. They have chickens, and I mean, it wasn't them at all. I love her family. We've become close. I've gotten all of their 4 kids through, but it's an example I want the listeners to understand that just because a child is like over successful, sometimes it is them and not the parent. And it's okay to let them be them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Oh, this has been so eye-opening. Are there any other things that we, you know, again, I only know what I know. Are there anything else that you want parents to know? I love how we've covered, you know, sort of like the mindfulness process of uncovering who we are, working that into like, what are our criteria in like a very strategic way of where do we want to go? What do we want to look at? Career fit, kind of managing that through community service. Is there anything else that we haven't discussed? You're like, parents, don't forget this part.
Yeah, this is probably the grand finale.
I love it.
Who is going to do all of what I just shared?
The students.
Right? So I'm going to go down the list, parents, really briefly, and I want you to write this down, and then I want you to write the name of the person who's going to do this. Who is going to create the 4-year academic plan? Who is going to create the test strategy? Will they take the SAT or the ACT, and what score will they need? Who will create the Passion with Purpose project? Who will create the extracurricular activity plan? On the Common App, there are 10 activities, honors, and awards. On the UC, there are 20. So like it or not, it's coming. Who is going to help them create their resume and get letters of recommendation? and who is going to help them map out their essays so they get accepted and get big scholarships. Now, I want you to talk to your family and talk about the who. It can't be your child. As much as you would love to think your teenager is ready, and I love to help you with that, it just is a lot. They don't know how. Your high school counselor has no idea what your family cannot afford because they have no idea how much your family does or does not make. So asking them to put you together a list of colleges is not going to take into account what you can or cannot afford. All of these are why people get into the situation they do with no major, no college, no plan. Without a plan, you plan to fail. And I don't want that for any of you. So if you would like, I would like to share. Is it okay to share with your listeners?
Absolutely.
Okay. I would love to give you 30 minutes where I can pour into you and help you figure out what needs to happen for your family. All you have to do is go to collegereadyplan.info. INFO. So do you see the plan with College Ready? Collegereadyplan.info. It's not a sales pitch. It is, how can we help you? How can we support you? The next thing is, if you're like, you know what, I've got this. I'm good. A few free resources would be helpful. Just go to my website, collegereadyplan.com. Tons of free resources. And then finally, if you just need a little bit of help, I have 2 best-selling books. The first is How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. And the second is The College Admissions Plan Simplified. They're on sale for your listeners for 99 cents right now because I want everybody to have the resources they need to be successful.
I love that. I love that so much. Gosh, you are good at the big finish.
I'm a giver. My
Yes.
CPA says, stop giving everything away.
Can't stop, won't stop.
No, that's just who we are.
I love that. And I mean, God, just hearing you rattle off that list, I was like, I mean, there's no way that I have the capacity or the ability to help my children like that. So I think that the services that you provide sound incredible.
Happy to help.
Yeah.
So thank you for the time. And listeners, if you need anything at all, please reach out.
Absolutely. And guys, let's support our kids. When we talk about writing our own story, what I love about this process is that it really is led from what are you helping kids develop long-term career goals and backing that into these next couple of stages of their life, like a really solid vetted way, and giving the kids the confidence because they've walked through this. And I love the idea of having skin in the game by earning their own scholarships. I mean, all of this is just like, this is so incredible. This makes me like want to run downstairs and hug my teenager and be like, it's going to be okay. And call his dad and be like, it's all as well. Like we're both right. Yeah, absolutely. So please, listeners, share this episode to all of those who have the kiddos that are kind of the up and rising, at least high school, if not middle school, just to be thinking about the thinking abouts. I just really, truly let a lot of the air of stress out of the balloon. So Shellee, thank you so much for your guidance today. I think you've really helped a lot of busy moms be like, okay, I think we can do this. So thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
All right, you guys, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.